Well, welcome to Real Moms Only. This is our 5th episode of the podcast, Real Moms Only, where we are here to encourage you, lift you up, give you maybe some advice from the different things that I've learned as a mom of 16. I'm here joined by my daughter, Daly K. Reback, mother to one.
Mother to one,
The
little guy.
The most incredible, precious, adorable grandson in the entire world. I can say that because he is my only grandson at this point. But anyways, we are gathering together today to talk about family traditions. So
we got Easter coming up.
Easter's coming up, holidays are coming up, and I can already sense from different friends of mine, and especially younger moms, the stress building around a holiday. And Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, depending upon what kind of holidays or traditions your family or your extended family has had over the years, you might really struggle with this every time a family holiday comes around, and you get through that holiday, you put it behind you, and then you don't face the real stress of family traditions, etc. Really what you want to do as a mom.
Yeah, you're always doing everyone else's family traditions.
Yes.
Which is nice. It's great to be a part of it. But I definitely, having gotten married and had a little baby, I'm starting to think more about the family traditions that I want for my family. I mean, we may be small, there's not 16 of us in this house, but it's definitely something that I want to put some thought behind. And, I've always thought we had such great family traditions growing up around holidays, around just the everyday week. I thought when you mentioned, we should do one about family traditions, it would be really fun to kind of talk about it, dive into it, and figure out how we can build our own family traditions and inspire others to do the same.
Exactly. So I remember when you were just a baby, and I was so fortunate that I had my parents in town and my husband's parents in town, and everybody wanted us to be a part of their holidays. And that sounds fantastic until you're the parent feeling a little overwhelmed of how to make everybody else happy and kind of lost who and what we were about, what we wanted to do for a few years until I finally realized, boy, I deal with this every single holiday, making everybody else happy at the expense of trying to build my own family traditions. And it probably wasn't until you were about 6 or 7 years old and there were 2 or 3 of you, and it was really impossible to drag everybody all over town, that I realized, boy, this is just not working. I need to rethink and strategize this a little bit better. And I
feel like as a mom too, the funniest thing is that whatever family activity, tour guide, all of that stuff, it kind of falls to you.
It does.
Your responsibility is the family traditions.
Yeah, accidentally. It happens, I think, mostly accidentally. This was most apparent to me when dear friends of ours, the matriarch of the family, passed away. And the family got together a few months after she had passed away, and all of a sudden they realized the massive holes.
Oh.
They didn't even realize all that their mother had done to set these family gatherings together.
Oh.
And it wasn't until she was gone and nobody had really been taught or trained or thought to fill in some of the, because it was an unexpected death. And I thought, boy, oh boy, like you really don't even realize how much that falls to you as a mom. And so by accident or on purpose, you're going to have family traditions. So you might as well do it on purpose and intentionally. And like I said, Easter's coming up, lots of little stresses coming up around who's going to go where to do what. Hopefully not for you with our family, but I hear it, in the mom circles that I travel in. And it
is a real challenge.
I want to set your mind at ease that like these are choices and decisions that you do get to make.
And, for me, I want to make something that I can do every year, that's repeatable, that is fun for everyone, not so fun in the idea of it, but terrible in execution, stressful.
That can happen.
Yeah. So what do I do to get started? How do I build family traditions that everyone in my family will love?
Okay. So you touched on a lot right there. You said you want them to be actually doable. Yes. You don't want this Pinterest perfect thing in your mind and then it's a fail because your expectations were so high for everybody else and for what this was going to feel like, look like, do, taste like, whatever. And then you're let down. They can't meet your expectations. There's this giant gap in the middle of what you thought it was going to be like and what it actually was like.
Yeah, I'm definitely a victim of that. I see the cute little, when they set the table for Easter and somehow they make an Easter bunny out of a napkin with real flowers and then they bake the cookies and they turn out to be in the shape of, and then the kids get to cookie decorate. Like all of these really cute little
Yeah.
tiny traditions. Sometimes I feel a little bit overwhelmed. Like, what am I actually supposed to focus on? What is a good family tradition that I will actually enjoy? I have no idea.
So the question you got to ask yourself is, are you doing this for bragging rights or for bonding?
Oh,
Why? What's your motivation for doing this? If your motivation for doing this is to truly build a solid family culture and some great memories in your kids' minds, then you can't go wrong. But if your motivation is something that you compose to make yourself look better than your other friend moms, whether you recognize that's why you're doing it or not, like then you will feel like a failure pretty easily.
That's a trap.
Somebody's
like.
already somebody's already a better cook. They're already a better table maker. They're already a better whatever than you. So you have to ask yourself, why am I doing this? If you're doing it for real memories and real bonding with your family, then start very simple. Start really simple. Don't overwhelm yourself. Pick things that are manageable, doable. Pick things that focus and mean something to your family. It doesn't have to mean something to everybody else. It has to mean something to you guys. And, especially depending upon the age of your children, what parts can your kids participate in?
Yeah, because I honestly don't want to take a tradition every single year that includes 90% of the work and prep being done by me. It's done in 5 minutes. The kids have had a great time, but it's like, great, now I have to clean up for 2 hours and I already planned for 2 weeks to make this amazing craft. I don't really, what are some ways that I can make sure that everybody has a good time, including me?
Right. Yeah. So keeping it simple, for example, for Easter, our family, we have had the same meal, and it took us a while to stumble upon this meal. Actually, we always have chicken cordon bleu. Chicken cordon bleu, twice baked potatoes, asparagus, and that's our meal. Everybody loves it. It's simple,
chicken.
Rolls. It's something fun that you big girls help me in the kitchen make.
It's hands-on. It's very hands-on.
It is, and
it's not very traditional. We've tried I remember us trying the brisket. I remember us trying the ham. I remember us trying. It was just too hard. Yeah. All of that stuff was or the kids didn't like it.
They didn't like it. Didn't help. Doesn't help if you spend all that time in the kitchen and nobody actually eats it. That's not very fun either. Talk about an expectation gap. You had something that you thought they were going to like and they're all complaining.
It was traditional.
Yeah.
The one time we actually tried to cook an actual Seder dinner, and that just did not happen that well. That was a terrible idea.
That was not a
We lost it along the way with the matzo ball soup. Yeah. Nobody really understood it.
Nope. That was a fail. That's okay. We learned. We laugh about it now. I
remember being so stressed about that. Went to 4 grocery stores to find matzo balls.
It's okay. Listen, we learned. But here's the deal. If you keep it simple, set a nice table. Mm-hmm. It shows that the meal is important. Fix something special. Listen, our new Christmas Eve tradition is now pasta, spaghetti dinner. I can make that 3 days in advance. It tastes better. Right? So keeping it simple, something that the kids can be involved with, setting the table. I always include the kids on setting the table. It might not be the Pinterest perfect set table.
It's set at least.
But it's set and they had fun. And if the glasses look good matching with those dishes to them, I don't care if they help set it. It was fantastic. So you want to pick something that's doable, not overwhelmable. Here's another thing, especially with Easter, right? There's 47 things you can do for Easter. There's egg hunts, there's egg dyeing, there's cookie baking, there's all the different church things that you're going to do. You got Good Friday, you got Resurrection Sunday, you got to have the flowers, you got to decorate the front door.
Easter is a lot. There's the outfits. You have to have the outfits for Good Friday service, a Saturday egg hunt, a Sunday breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Depends on church where it all falls. If we went Friday or Sunday, it's
there's a lot.
Yeah.
So you've got to prioritize.
It's kind of like the Super Bowl for moms.
It feels like it on my end, but here's the thing. You have to prioritize. What's the most important? What things might you be able to work in? What things you willing to let go of? Yeah. For years, our family did the same egg hunt for probably 25 years. We went to the same Easter egg hunt. This is another funny tradition for our family, the egg hunt. I'm going to share a family secret here.
This egg hunt was competitive. You got to kind of set the scene a little bit.
Okay, so this was a very lovely egg hunt at a place that we lived for years, and everybody was a little bit competitive in the neighborhood. So to take it up a notch, I had their egg hunt baskets done weeks in advance, always with the ribbons to coordinate with the dresses, made it look really nice with the
The
boys'
baskets
outfits.
matched the outfits.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible.
I would reuse the same baskets, but I'd redo them every year. That was kind of a fun thing that we worked on together. And then we would practice.
We actually practiced egg
We
hunt
had
winning.
egg hunt practice. Now, I'm only sharing this with everybody because Vaughn is 9 and has pretty much outgrown the egg hunt. But here was our secret for egg hunting. We'd practice, and I would put eggs all over the backyard. And
it's a great activity.
It was so
killing some time.
It was hilarious. At night we would do this, and I'd line up the kids, and the rule was you had to practice running to the back of the egg hunt. Don't just start collecting eggs right in front of you. Run to the back.
You gotta run to the back.
Gotta run to the back.
Because every other kid immediately bends down to pick up what's in front of them. If you run straight to the back, you have open field, clean skies, green pastures, just picking up eggs as many as you
Left
can
and
before
right.
all the kids get there.
That was my hot Easter egg hunt tip, and it was hilarious because the kids would win so many eggs every year. It was a great time. But the egg hunt was something that, that was a tradition. We were going to do
every Saturday before Easter. That's what we do. But then, we all started to outgrow it.
Mm-hmm.
So, then we'd start having egg hunts at different people's houses, for a breakfast or a brunch, or we'd have to change up our game when it came to the egg hunts because we started to outgrow it. So not every tradition is forever.
Right.
But for sure, with the little guy, when he can walk around, I'm sure we'll have a new egg hunt.
We're going to be training him months in advance.
It's going to be the fastest little redhead in the West over here.
Well, his father was a former professional athlete, so he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah.
So these traditions, you have to kind of prioritize. What are your top 1, 2, or 3 things that you have to do at Christmas to make it a success for your little family or your growing family? And then if there are other things that are important to other family members that you can plug and play into that, fantastic. But just make sure that if something's really important to you and your family, get those things done, because you never want to feel the pressure of, well, gosh, the one thing I wanted to do with my kids this Easter or this Christmas, I didn't get to do because I was so busy doing everything for everybody else. And that's just not a fun way to look back on your holidays. So here's the thing, we have family traditions at the holidays, but then we can incorporate family traditions every day, every week. There can be family traditions that you incorporate that help really truly build your culture and the stability of your family, because inevitably every family is going to go through difficult things. You're going to go through financial setbacks. You're going to go through health challenges. You're going to go through all kinds of fun stuff with your middle schoolers and high schoolers and college aged kids that, sometimes just turn your hair gray. But the point is, if you have some of these traditions built in, they are a comfort to all of you, especially, I'm just going to say this for those of you that have middle schoolers and high schoolers, especially if you're really walking through a difficult time with your teenager. If no matter what you're facing, you have 1 or 2 things that they can look forward to in the week that are not based on any kind of behavior system, then you are just keeping that window open. You are reminding them, calling them back to who and what they are, whose they are, what their family stands for. We talked a lot about this in terms of family identity last week. These traditions help hold up those walls, especially when the whole world around them seems to be shaking. Some of the things we do as a family, what are some of the things you remember us doing as a family?
And this is one that I still do every day or every week, because sometimes I don't see Dave every single day. Highs and lows. So every night around dinner or on Fridays around dinner, I'll ask Dave, what were some of the highs of this week? Some of the best things that happened, some things that we want to celebrate that either you did or you experienced or, you saw. What are the lows of this week? What are some really big disappointments? What are some things that didn't go how you planned? You still have to work on, extremely frustrating. I love taking the time to celebrate the wins, because I think in my family, we don't celebrate the wins enough just because we're always on to the next thing. There's more work to be done. We have to keep going.
Lots going on.
And there's a lot that's left in the unstarted pile, of things to do. So celebrating those wins and acknowledging, the stuff that we went through and learned, highs and lows. I try to do that at least once a week, if not a little bit more, Wednesdays and Fridays. Because I feel like that makes a big difference. And that's just me and Dave. That's really not the baby because his eyes are, he got to hang out with me every single day.
Yeah.
And he has no loves. So
yeah. The things we do, we try to, every meal that we sit down together, we try to go over highs and lows. And lows sometimes are categorized. Somebody would say, well, what, they're thinking of their failures. The truth is, whatever your low is, what did you learn from it?
Yes.
You touched on that, what you answered. What did you learn from that situation? Another thing that we did every week, as much as humanly possible, was we had a Friday night movie night.
Those are the best.
Friday night movie nights were a big deal. It was a reward for hard work. It was a time to just simmer down and all snuggle up together.
Yeah.
Again, one of those things, super, super important. If you're going through a rough time with a middle schooler, high schooler, and university age student, if you can latch onto one thing that you can do consistently, something like a Friday night movie night is fantastic. And I kind of got this idea because a friend of mine in high school, her parents' rule was she could go out one night a weekend, but not both. And so kind of as preemptively, my kid's not asking to go out both Friday and Saturday night.
Yeah.
I figured I would always have a standing Friday night,
Well, and you're so tired on Fridays. It's like, it's definitely, Friday night movie nights were always fun growing up just because it was simple. Like, you ordered or you made a pizza, from the freezer. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
You popped some popcorn and you had some Coke Zeros. It was simple. It wasn't like it was a crazy, expensive, elaborate, the house is clean. You're laying down. You're watching a movie. We're done. Like, nothing too insane. Sometimes there were double featers.
Sometimes there were double features. There's a big kid and a little kid movie night. The little kid was first. They went to bed. Then the big kids got to stay up and watch something else. Yeah. We tend to have Sunday night dinners, something low stress, but everybody's favorite, have everybody, including big kids, come over. Saturday morning, long runs at the beach. Try to do those as often as we can, as many of them as we can.
I started doing like a Saturday night beach walk with Dave, the baby, and the dogs. Quite a handful. But still fun because everybody gets a little bit of a workout in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, it's a myth right now that traditions don't mean anything. People like to deconstruct everything. People like to question all of these different things. But I'll tell you, 30 years into my parenting journey and recalling all of the great traditions I had with my family growing up, they really do mean something. They are quite a stabilizer. And even if it's a challenge, we talked about this in the last podcast, sometimes it's a challenge in our family to maintain family dinner. Now we have family breakfast.
Right.
We sit down. Listen, if you can't get those traditions in, think outside the box.
Make it up.
Think of a different way. It can be something so simple, but it's a simple tradition and they come to grow and be accustomed to it.
There's no rules when it comes to these traditions.
Yeah. We used to do fried chicken every Sunday after church.
Oh, the best.
Yes. Fried chicken every Sunday. And that's something that we haven't been doing recently, but that's okay. It has its seasons. It will come back. That's all right. Listen, the thing of it is, these traditions actually are quite biblically based. When we think back and we look, for example, in the Old Testament, and we see how God asked his people to, hey, hold these feasts. Remember these things. Every year, I want you to hold this feast. Specifically, let's just talk about Passover since we're coming up on Easter. Yeah. This was supposed to remind the Jewish people of how they escaped slavery, how God led them out, protected and provided for them, the biggest
miracles that they didn't experience as a people.
And they were supposed to teach their kids every year about who they were, what they were, where they came from, why they believed what they did, all the good things that God had done for them. And that is what traditions do. They remind our families who we are, what we're about, what God has done for us. I mean, this year at Thanksgiving, we instituted a new tradition.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. Remember, everybody came to our house this year for Thanksgiving.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Everybody came.
You forget it.
There were 60 people.
That's why we need traditions.
Yes, 60 people came for Thanksgiving dinner.
So fun.
And before we ate supper, I had every person list one thing that they were thankful for. And we did not get very far into that. I think we're 4 people in and people were already crying, recognizing how much we as a family had to be grateful for. And one of the things we were celebrating so much was just having Grandpa there.
I know.
That our
health scare this year.
Yeah, my father-in-law had a terrible health scare this year. And we were all so thankful to have him there for Thanksgiving. And I think that that's something that we'll now incorporate every year. What's one thing you're most grateful for? With 60 people, you can only name one thing.
Yeah, and a smaller family, you could go into the weeds sometimes.
Yeah.
it's nice to keep it simple and to keep it strong. You know, if everyone can think about what they're going to be thankful for in just a sentence off the top of your head, it can be more real than, come with a list prepared.
No,
we're going to
no, no.
have all these things.
Nobody's
and,
giving
oh
a
my
speech.
gosh.
No, no, no. We're not doing that. Here's the deal. This is not something I'm saying that you should do to add a burden. It's not something that I'm trying to lay on any mom to make it more difficult. I'm simply trying to encourage you to think about your family culture, because whether you intentionally set one or not, there will be one.
Right.
I'm trying to encourage you to think through carefully, what kind of traditions do you want for your family? What kind of memories do you want to build as a family? What do you want your children to look back and remember with fondness? I don't want my kids to think, man, mom was always stressed out that the food had to be perfect and the table had to be perfect and we had to be dressed perfectly. I want them instead remember with fondness the meal. What did we eat? How yummy it was. That they felt welcome, warm, and wanted around that table. That we were thankful and talking about how thankful we were, or the things that we'd learned together. That there was something on Friday nights that we always did. These things are what matters. It's not about how Pinterest perfect it is. I am so grateful I started my family when there was no such thing as social media. I really do have so much compassion for you guys trying to parent through all of this pictures of perfection, but it's not about make your home a Pinterest perfect home, or your Friday or Saturday nights or your Easter Pinterest perfect. Just think carefully. If you have to sort through, you know what, on Christmas, I'm not going to 3 different houses anymore. I'm going to spend Christmas Eve with these people. I'm going to spend Christmas Day with these people. And that's what I've got to give.
Yeah.
Or, hey.
Or if you're a family that doesn't have family and you have to create your own, just be intentional about it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because there's plenty of families, a lot of people that, I know that have moved to South Florida. They don't have family around.
That's true.
They're struggling. Well, how do I make it feel like? Just take a step back and remember it's your family. If you've taken the time to come up with what's important to your family and your core values and who you are as a family, then just kind of build traditions off of that instead of think about what you don't have. Oh, I don't have my mom here. I don't have my dad.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
Think about what can you do? What can you make that'll be special? And, also consider the workload. Don't do something crazy.
Yeah.
Just do what is accomplishable.
Yeah. And for those of us that are a little bit older moms, maybe we're having grandchildren, or we have grandchildren, we have several grandchildren, and we have expectations, we have wants. We want to see those grandchildren at Easter.
Oh, who doesn't? I mean, oh my gosh.
Right. Listen, I'm just going to say, remember what it felt like when you were a young mom, and ask what you, of these families, of your daughter-in-laws or your daughters or your sons or sons-in-laws, ask of them what you would have understood and appreciated and been able to consider doing when you were their age with young children. Because sometimes I think when we're older, we forget how difficult it is to just get them up, get them dressed, get them in the clean outfit, get to church, that we're asking a lot. Be realistic in what you're expecting and be thankful for anything and everything you get, because it's all a gift. Listen, families are a lot of work, but they are an amazing, amazing gift. I'm so grateful for each of my children, the family traditions that we've built, the things that they've helped us navigate through. They've helped us navigate through some tough stuff. But Daly K, thanks for being a part of what we are discussing today with family traditions. I'm excited to see my grandson this Easter.
I have to find an outfit for him. I have to figure out what we're going to wear. That's a very important part of our Easter tradition.
Yes. What are we going to
be
wear?
Adorable, of course.
Yes. Not hard for him. Listen, all of you, thank you so much for joining us on Real Moms Only. I'm so grateful to be a part of your journey, encouraging you. If you have family traditions that you want to share, listen, share them with us on social media. Share them with us in private messages. If you have show ideas or content or questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us. These are the ways that we can communicate with you most effectively and hopefully share with you things that are encouraging. Thank you so much for joining us on Real Moms Only. Until next week.